agree that not all days are created equal? You know what I'm saying? I mean, some days are yeah, they all have the same number of hours, but they're not equal. Some days are just better than others just by virtue of where they fall in the order. And historically speaking, I hate to say it because I think it's really true. And I can't remember who the quote comes from about the idea that, you know, we're a country that lives for Friday, right? Everything's about getting to Friday so that you can have your day on Saturday. And then we die on Monday, you know? And I don't want, I wish I had that ability that every day, as they say, is Saturday. And that's kind of the standing running gag in my house about the weekends and, you know, wish every day was Saturday. And some of my friends who have retired keep telling me that's what retirement is. Every day is Saturday. Haven't found that out yet. Not at that point. Look at Dan. I walked in the house this morning, and before I thought about anything else, for some reason, and normally I wear a tie when I come in here just because I haven't changed clothes yet, but I'm standing there and I'm just like, the tie came off. So Casual Friday, let's call it that. Casual Friday here on the update. Again, I'm Dan Gresham. This is my house. Glad to be in your house this morning. This is our at-home update. It will not be a newscast, and it will be nothing like a newscast. This is much more casual, just me to you talking, enjoying our morning together in the community that we have created here on the KFDM Facebook page. I look forward to seeing all the names and encourage you to comment. You know, just like you would any other Facebook post, something you like, something you want to talk about, something you don't like. You know, I've been doing this a long time. I have no problem talking about things that people don't like, whether it's they don't like about the show or they don't like about you. That's fine. Everybody is entitled to an opinion. It's how we express those opinions that's really important. All right. So that being said, we do have a lot of folks that have already showed up this morning. So let's give them their due. We'll say good morning to Thelma. Good morning, Thelma. Trent's up this morning with us. Yeah, all is good. Trent, all is good. I hope the same is true in your world this morning. Chase on, as always, good to see you. Glenda said she's headed to Galveston. Wow, what a great day to go to Galveston. Going on the ferry? I mean, I always assume people are, but that's a bad assumption on my part because certainly you could just, you know, head over on the interstate and then zip south on the Beltway or not even get to the Beltway and cut across through Baytown. You know what I'm talking about, to go to Galveston. But I always think the ferry, and this would be a great morning for a ferry ride, you know, across. Yeah. Shirley, good morning to you. Nice to see you this morning. Tammy, good morning to you. And thanks for saying hi to everybody that's up this morning. David, good morning. Also, Trent says, good morning, everyone. If you hadn't realized it yet, it is a beautiful day. Let me tell you, it is that. And it's that, and it's a whole lot more. You know it's a good day weather-wise when your first thought is, and you're even willing to go to these places, I think I'll mow the yard today. Because most of the time I'm like, man, I don't want to mow the yard today. I don't have a problem doing yard work. And, I have a walk behind lawnmower. I do 2 yards, so it's not a big deal. And I don't mind doing it, but it sure is a whole lot easier on days like today. Vicky says, I wish I could be off to enjoy this beautiful day. Tom, good morning to you. Hope all is well up in Illinois this morning. Also, Diana Jones. Tomorrow is my 47th birthday with Diana. Do yourself a favor and celebrate something special. Do it outside. Go enjoy maybe a meal. That would be it. That'd be nice. Enjoy a birthday meal outside at one of our nice outdoor establishments. And we do have a few that have nice patios here. David Lyons says, Dan the man, good morning. Good morning to you, sir. And you're right. TGIF, as I said, some days are better than others, and Fridays in this house are always better than Mondays. David, sitting on the patio drinking coffee. Oh, man. I've been out. It is good. Joetta, good morning to you. Eliza says, hey, Dan, what's up? You're what's up, Eliza. That's what's going on. Sheila, good morning to you. Also, Stacy says, good morning. Love the weather. How can you not like this weather? And Lisa Harris says, every day is Saturday when you're retired, Dan. I've been retired for 7 years now. That's something we should talk about sometime on the show, and just take a few minutes, to talk about this. Because like I said, I have a lot of friends. I'm a pretty avid tennis player. I like going out, and it's been kind of one of those sports I enjoy. I enjoy sports in general. I'm not a big watcher of sports, but I enjoy playing and being active in sports, bike riding, tennis, golf, you name it, motorcycle. I like it all. But I enjoy doing. I'm not much of a watcher. For games, used to be, but as I've gotten older. But anyway, the guys that I play tennis with, all of them, with the exception of myself, they're retired. And, they tell me every time oh yeah. But a guy told me yesterday, and I had no idea. He said, I retired when I was 59 years old. I'm thinking, man, you got a big head start on me and a lot of other folks by doing that. But he was just telling me how much he's enjoyed it. But if you're retired, my theory is about retirement. If you're one of those people that you feel like you've worked the amount that you want to work, and you have the ability. Unfortunately, I think a lot of people that you and I both know, unfortunately, are going to be in a position that I'm not sure they're going to be able to retire. We lived our lives pushing, buying, and consuming to the point that it's going to be awful hard to stop, because people have things that they have to pay for, or they didn't plan ahead, and let me tell you about planning ahead. Life gets in the way. You're talking to a guy who's been through, some college educations, also a few weddings. I mean, those things, those life events set you back. Not to mention every time you think you've got, knocked, something rears its ugly head, and all of a sudden you've got something else to pay for. All right, so let's jump into the headlines this morning. You know what the number one headline of the day is? Of course, the president and Melania Trump have COVID. The president tweeted this morning very early that both he and the First Lady had tested positive for COVID-19. Now, what that means remains to be seen. But I was reading some pretty alarming numbers, that talk about, statistically speaking, the president's in a pretty precarious situation. I mean, he's older. He's 74. And again, I'm just going by statistics. Statistically speaking, for a man his size, he's probably a tad bit overweight. He's had previous conditions. So, I mean, he falls into the higher risk category without a doubt. And the physicians were saying, it's going to require a very close watch on the president's condition. And they're saying at this point, he has not presented any symptoms, but that is not unusual. Standard for folks who do present symptoms, if they get the virus, is as long as 11 days. That's not unusual that you're 11 days infected. And the president of the United States is one of the few people who gets tested regular enough that he would know. I mean, here's the fallacy of testing. And I think by now I hope we all understand this. Just because you have a test, and the president did on Thursday, and he was negative, he tested again on Friday, and he's positive. That's the way it works. I don't understand the idea that, I got tested 3 weeks ago, and I was negative, therefore I can go and do anything I want. That's not the way it works. That's not the way it works. You can be fine one day, and then you can have it the next. The other thing that people keep forgetting about is the incubation period, the time it takes from when you're exposed until you present, or until you start becoming the one who's actually spreading. And again, that's why they say, 10 days, 14 days, depends on who you ask. And that's part of the problem now, is you don't have one standard rule of thumb that says this happens. If this happens, this is what you must do. Now it's like, if this happens, maybe you do 10 days, maybe you do 14, maybe you can still, So again, the only way that testing would really work, and the president is pretty doggone close to this, is to do daily testing. And I would assume that at that level, that it's probably more than testing on a daily level. It might even be twice a day, 3 or 4 times a day, depending on what he's doing, who he's been exposed to, and where he's going. So the president will be watched carefully. No doubt about that. His physician already weighing in, saying that they're on top of this. The president saying that the pair will now quarantine. And, you can't help but ask, how does this affect things moving forward? How does this affect the campaign? How does this affect debates that maybe are set up within 2 weeks? All those things, I guess, will be discussed moving forward, and will be a story that we will continue to watch. And don't worry, everywhere you go, this is going to be what you want to see. You want evidence of that? Let's check out some newspaper headlines this morning. Start with the Houston Chronicle, and you're like, well, wait, where's the? Oh, it's just there below. Breaking news, top of the page. So there you go. How about the Austin American-Statesman? Of course, top story of the day. I told you. Dallas Morning News. Yeah, sure enough. San Antonio Express. Yeah, right there. Trump says he and First Lady test positive for coronavirus. Right next to largest lottery prize in North America, sold in San Antonio. All right. So again, those are there's not going to be a situation where you're not going to know what's happening. Obviously, this is a story that everybody's going to be watching for a whole lot of different reasons, right? All right. So let's come back to KFDM.com. And again, a couple other stories I want to bring to your attention on this Friday before we get out of here this morning. One is, I thought this was a very interesting story about how do schools cover the cost of, what they've had to do to ensure that, kids are taken care of and they're protected. And they're saying, look, this is expensive. This is expensive. When you do this, you're starting to realize, they've had to buy computers. They've had to buy other equipment for kids to learn. They've had to buy PPE. They've had to go out and set up, all these different protocols. And it's expensive. So you might want to go and watch Ian Chris's story that talks about how Port Arthur ISD is asking if there's any way or any funding that might be available to help them defray some of that cost. Also, the Jefferson County judge speaking out, saying he is concerned about a second wave of the coronavirus in Jefferson County. But he says the upside to that is the fact that at this point, hospitalizations have not increased to the point where they're a concern, and that the possibility is that, we have a mutated virus now. And we certainly know how to treat it better. Listen, we've had months to learn how to treat this. So I think that's also something. And what's also going to happen by virtue of the president testing positive? There are going to be a lot of things that are going to, that are going to come out of this. But probably one of them is the conversation. I mean, the idea that people had grown, what do you want to call it, COVID fatigued? Don't want to talk about it, don't want to deal with it, pretend like it's not there anymore. Well, this brings it back to the forefront. You can't just go, it's not a problem. If the president of the United States tests positive and he gets a test every day, then maybe that kind of brings the point home. Also this morning on KFDM.com, as we're talking about stories that you might find interesting, a story that has been percolating over in Orange County for some time, kind of came to a head yesterday, and that is the Orange County grand jury indicting Jared Lee Watkins, 23-year-old Orange County, on a charge of intoxication manslaughter. And you might remember the story, the death of Jillian Blanchard. A lot of people were upset because nothing happened immediately. And this is an event that took place earlier in the summer, back in June. And Blanchard, a 20-year-old, accused of driving his F-150 pickup truck, colliding head-on with Jillian Blanchard and killing her. And now he has been charged with intoxication manslaughter. So, again, a case that a lot of people had a great deal, because there's another part of the story that you can go in and read as well. I'm not going to take the time this morning because, again, you do the heavy lifting. I'm just going to point you in the right direction. It's on you to go and do this. I've already read it several times this morning, believe me. A lot of people concerned, too, about a move that the governor has made concerning mail-in ballots. He says it improves security. Opponents say it only makes it that much harder. And if you're asking what he did, let me just show you again. If you don't think this is getting attention, I mean, it's getting attention not only here. Here's the story from the Austin American-Statesman. Abbott orders counties to close multiple ballot drop-off sites. Travis County, for example, they had 4 manned ballot boxes and or stations where people with mail-in ballots could drive through, just as like you see this lady doing here, and simply drop off their ballot. And the governor said, nope, can't do that. You can only have one ballot place where they can do it in person. They can mail them in, but if they're going to bring them in and drop it off, it's going to be limited to one drop-off site, and there have to be poll watchers there designated by political parties and candidates to observe all of the votes being returned. Goes into effect today. And as you can imagine, there are a lot of people that are very unhappy about that. And I'm sure there are some people who support the idea. But, and again, this is what's going on right now. I think you're going to see, without a doubt, you're going to see some court action over this. That people are going to say, no, you just can't do that. By the way, and I should mention this, Vice President tests negative and remains in good health this morning. But as I told somebody else, and we just talked about, that means he tested positive at the moment. He must be tested over and over daily. Just again, we talked about this months ago. The only way that you and I are ever going to be in a position, I think, and see what you think, where I feel really comfortable every day going wherever I go, knowing that, hey, either they do or they don't have it, is if we have affordable paper tests like the administration started distributing. They did 150 million of them. But the problem is you probably need to do 150 million of them a day. And we did 150 million of them, as in that's all we've got for the moment. Where you can take them, swab your nose, both sides, put it in a little thing, close it. 15 minutes later, you open it, and either you have the virus or you don't have the virus. Then that way you have them distributed everywhere. They're very inexpensive. Employers can give them to their employees. You and I could buy them. And if people, if they have it, they can't come to work. You have to show your daily test when you come in. Then you feel comfortable. Then people go back out. You wanted the economy to pick up. People, for the most part, are getting to the point where they're comfortable with it. And the economy is, when you drive around Southeast Texas, I think you're probably pretty hard pressed to go, oh, nobody's going out. Because people are out. Would they be more out? Would they be more active if you had daily testing? You would have to think that's logically the answer would be yes. But of course, I think we're still a ways from seeing that. But anyway, so they will continue to test the vice president. And what you got to imagine now, they're testing everybody in the White House. They're testing everybody who's been anywhere, or around the president, and also you got to remember it was Hope Hicks, the highest ranking aide probably, or one of the highest ranking aides in the White House, who got, or was at least tested positive first, then the president. All right, what else did I have for you? That's really about all I've got this morning. I do want to encourage you again, let me see if I can find it real quick on the Facebook page, that coming up tomorrow at the KFDM Fox 4 studios in Beaumont on the Curve, we're going to be giving away voter registration forms that you can sign and turn back in immediately. So, voter registration, last day to register to vote is Monday. So if you want to come and do it on Saturday, come by our studios. We're going to be there beginning at 10 a.m. and we will be there until 3 p.m. We'll be observing all the protocols. We will be masked, gloves, everything. You don't have to get out of your car. You just come by. We're doing this in conjunction with the League of Women Voters. So you have that chance. You can't say I didn't vote because I wasn't registered. You still can register up until Monday. And some folks are saying, listen, here's how you get around that. you vote in person. Rebecca Rankin says, not everyone can vote in person. Some disabled and can't stand in line at the polls. I get that. And also, there are also folks who, and it should be up to them to decide if they don't feel comfortable voting in person, shouldn't they have the alternative option of voting somehow? I don't know. But it's interesting that we're going to see a lot of conversation about that between here and November the 3rd. I don't think there's any doubt. All right, that pretty much does it for me today. I've got to run, things to do. I'm sure you do too. Yards to mow. You're right. That's what I've got to do. Drop me a thumbs up, a like if you will, or if you don't like. It doesn't matter. Whatever you want to put on there. If you want to put a smiley face, an angry face, a face with tears, it just lets me know, hey, there's somebody actually out there this morning that and they're engaged. And that's what I want you to be. I want you to be engaged with what's going on. Engaged, though, does not mean angry. Don't get me wrong. Engaged does not mean shouting. Engaged means I'm actively watching and participating, even if it's in my own head, with what's going on. That I'm not just sleepwalking through everything. I'm not just doing the same thing I did yesterday all over again today. Live your life, right? Live your life. All right, I'm going to go live mine. And I will see you back here bright and early on Monday, whether it's on the television show or it's here on the Facebook live stream. Either way, do remind you too, as I do every single day, that you can follow us on Facebook, KFDM News. Also, if you want to check out what's happening on Twitter, my handle is Morning TV Dan. And we do have a YouTube channel. You're welcome to subscribe. We post all of our updates that we do every morning over on the YouTube channel as well, so you can watch them there if you want to. It's Dan's at Home. All right. So go out, make it a terrific weekend, no matter what you have planned. Get outside, enjoy some of this weather, even if it's just a cup of coffee on the back porch, right? But enjoy, take it in. Who knows how long it's going to last? Hopefully for a while. But anyway, go out and make it a good one. I'll look forward to seeing you very soon.